Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin rescinding layoff notices for 1,500 workers after lawmakers approved his plan to drive a stake through collective bargaining. This guy's a hero, and I bet my lefties don't agree, but the state's labor federation voted to go on general strike if the legislation was passed and signed. Well, it was signed today. Now what? Ellen?
He's a bully.
General strike.
Oh, because
you
he's
know
doing
what you're
his
talking
job.
about? The labor department, the labor groups in Wisconsin saying we're going on general strike.
He's a bully.
Cops,
He's a bully.
firemen. What if they go on strike?
Well, that's not good, obviously. But you know what? You don't need a bully. They agreed to negotiate on every single thing.
No,
the only
they
thing
didn't.
they wanted was collective bargaining. Yes, they did.
Arguably, the greatest mayor this city ever had was a bully, and that was Rudy Giuliani. Arguably, Ronald Reagan, with the air traffic controllers, was a bully. There's a lot of bullies
getting rid of
who
Patco was a
actually,
really smart
who actually get things done.
You have to show leadership and
ladies
do your
first.
job versus the Democrats that were like scurrying across state lines to avoid doing their job, which was shameful behavior.
No, they
should
avoided
lose their
the-
position.
Well, you know what?
They avoided losing.
It's
Let's go.
ridiculous.
Let's go
So
to the.
what?
Made it.
Let's go to the president. Elections have consequences. Then let's go to the Democrats who said they stole democracy.
And you think this guy
Let
can
me
get
finish.
reelected?
Let me
And they want to
finish.
recall Walker.
Right, and you can't conduct democracy when you run across state lines and hide in Rockford. That's
Right.
not what you were hired
So
to do.
Leslie, let
And
me
they
ask
want
you
to
this.
make political
says.
martyrs.
My lefty on the left coast, is collective bargaining a right?
I believe it is, and it
What-
is
by what
also
law?
something that the governor never can. I believe it is, and it is not something the governor campaigned on. And every conservative, and yes, conservatives call my show, Eric, that called my radio show last night, said thanks a lot, Walker, because Wisconsin will go to Obama in 2012.
No.
There are
Premature
Republicans
prediction.
that are going to vote for Obama just out of anger for their fellow Republicans. They've hurt business, because I know you like, let's follow the money, Eric. There's not going to be money coming into Wisconsin because people don't want to send their business into Wisconsin. It's not only not business friendly, it's obviously not union friendly. Scott Walker showed his true colors.
I'm going to guess they're going to gain more businesses in Wisconsin because they don't have to deal with unions and collective bargaining, Dave.
This is exactly what was needed. We need to take the unions holding people hostage. And it doesn't matter if he adds jobs over the next 3 years and adds another $250,000 jobs,
Exactly.
brings income into the state, he gets reelected. If he doesn't meet that, he has a problem. But what they've done is they've saved $30 million by July 1, $300 million over the next year out of the state budget. They spend about $12.5 billion every year. He's already taken a chunk out of their deficit. This helps the state overall.
It's bold action, and you know what? I wait and see what the numbers are, and if he can actually improve the conditions for them financially in Wisconsin. People aren't stupid; they
Ellen,
can do the math.
a friend of
Ellen,
mine.
wait, Ellen, these people are elected officials. That's what you get in democracy. You elect people and you get the vote.
Right.
If you lose the vote, you can't run to the next state and say, I don't want to vote. You lose the vote.
Well, but if you're going to pull something at the last minute like they did and use those kinds of tactics, that's what they have a reason.
There is
tactics?
no
What
way.
tactics?
The kind of tactics that they now separated the bill and they pushed it through.
Is that a tactic, Artie, or is that's perfectly legal, isn't it?
Well, it's political. That's the political system. If it was to the benefit of the side you wanted,
But
then
it's
you'd say it was
also
okay.
legal.
It will all be decided in the voting booth whenever the next time it is. If
Listen.
the citizens like it, they'll go for it, and if they don't, they
Alan
don't.
would be
It's what you said. If he
flipping
pulls it off, he pulls it off.
Flipping
Wait, hold on,
out.
guys.
Hold on, but she'd be flipping out. If Republicans were scurrying
Yeah,
across
imagine
the
if
border,
Republicans-
you would be like, oh,
I have to
no,
do
they
that.
didn't. Oh, no.
Can we get a video
You'll
or a
violate
picture
our
of Richard
Wheaties
Trump,
today,
the
Happy
CEO or the boss of AFL-CIO? Leslie, this guy says collective
Yes.
bargaining is a right. And you know who he cites? He doesn't go to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. He goes to Article 23 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights from the UN. This is
UN.
the basis of where he says
That's
collective bargaining is a right.
ridiculous. That's
Yes,
not
but
an
Eric,
enumerated right.
here's the bottom
taken out
line.
of
Wait
the
a minute,
Communist
guys.
Manifesto.
Even though we know politicians lie, what Governor Walker and the Republicans did wasn't just being hypocritical. They outright proved they were liars, and voters resent that, especially when
What
that
did
was
they
not
lie
the
about,
platform
Leslie?
they
I'm
elected.
not sure. It's a
When they split the legislation,
Yeah.
How's that a
the
lie?
collective bargaining part of the legislation
Right.
is considered to be fiscal, and they've been arguing for weeks
So it's
that
legal.
the reason
It's
they need to
legal
do
to do
away
it.
with collective bargaining. I didn't say it's illegal. What I said is it shows the true motive.
Oh,
if this
because
is
they
about,
learned it from the
if
Democrats
this is
with
a fiscal,
Obamacare. Remember
if
when
this
that
is a
happened at the
fiscal
last second
issue,
and pushing it
if
through
this is a
sneaky sneak?
fiscal issue,
please.
All right,
if this is a fiscal
I- hold on,
issue, then
Leslie,
hold on.
collective bargaining cannot be a non-fiscal portion of this legislation in
Okay,
order
hang on,
for this
Leslie,
parliamentary
hang on.
move to
So
have gone
the
through.
issue that the left has is that they feel the Democrats didn't have enough time to read. They're calling the open meeting
Yeah.
law in
Correct.
Wisconsin.
Do you
So
think
know
that's
what they should
ridiculous?
do? Give them 2 hours.
Well,
you want to
how-
come back in 2 hours?
You know
come back
why?
and vote. What do you think would
Because
happen?
you can't read when you're running over the board with pages flying out of your pockets. This is ludicrous. It's like, sorry, teacher, the dog ate my homework.
Wait, hold
Can
on,
I still
Leslie.
get an A?
Leslie, if they didn't and gave them, didn't violate this, what you're saying they violated the law, you only need to give them 2 hours. It would have changed the vote if they had 2 hours.
Honestly, I think even if they go through the whole process, they're going to have the vote again, no question. But, David, when you say when Governor Walker, if Governor Walker's reelected, ain't going to happen. I live in a
Well,
state
you can't
where
predict
you
the
talk
future,
about
neither
there
can
are
I. That's on you.
consequences.
I'll bet you dinner, my friend.
I live in a state where you said there are consequences to the election, consequences to your actions, the vote, et cetera.
Right.
Yes. Okay, in our state, Governor Gray Davis was recalled by that lovely actor, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Davis was
Scott
terrible.
Walker will
We're
be
gonna have to leave
recalled.
it there. We're
Every
gonna stay on
Republican member except
Wisconsin.
one will be recalled.
We're going to leave it there. We're going to say thank you. Hang on, guys. Coming up next in the corruption matrix of former. Yesterday, Artie Idella told us that he was going to bring us a story that would be on the front page of today's New York Post. Well, take a look. There's the story on the front page. State senator accused of $1 million bribery outrage, and Artie's here to bring us the wild story. Give us the deets.
Well, it's real bad for New York. And, Preet Bharara, he's the United States attorney who's prosecuting the case, and he had a great quote yesterday. He said, every time we arrest one of these assemblymen or state senators, it should be a wake-up call to the politicians in Albany, and instead they just reach over and hit the snooze button. Because
What did he do?
He basically got Carl Kruger, the state senator, got $1 million in bribes over 5 years to get access, basically a pay-to-play, and that's in its simplest forms. An assemblyman, William Boylan, these are really respected guys. They were really respected people. These aren't innocuous folks, powerful men taking millions of dollars and then are flaunting it. Kruger takes $1 million. Apparently, according to the paper, he has a lover who's a male. They wash the money, and you know what car he leases?
A Bentley.
A Bentley. And he's driving on a $150,000
That
salary.
was like
Sharp
good,
James.
no, Goodfellas. Remember when they said, no, listen, stay
What do you
low
want
after
him to do?
Lufthansa heist.
This is my Goodfellas
Drive
moment
a
here.
Volt?
I mean, but this is what goes on in Albany, the pit that is Albany, and this is why the state's in trouble, because it's all about self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment. They don't take care of the people. It's a pit up there. It needs to be cleaned out. You know what? I hope this leads to more people going down.
Yeah, you've
An
got to bust
assemblyman,
this
an
corrupt-
assemblyman already was convicted, already
Right.
went to jail and died in jail. He was the one who cracked this, and then they followed up his leads, and these two men going down. It's a big, big, big issue.
Leslie, I'm just trying to, Artie, Democrat?
Who? Both of them, yes.
Well, both Democrats, Leslie,
Well,
I know
that's
there's
right.
a pattern
That's
here.
right. That's right, Eric. That's right. Only the Democrats take money. Only the Democrats are slimy. Only the Democrats ride Bentleys and flaunt it and have. Oh, come on.
Sharp
There's corruption on
James,
both sides.
Rolls-Royce.
It's
I
wrong.
just thought I'd
And the
throw that in
people have the power to elect the bums out. Period.
Okay, go ahead.
If they're not going to have to elect them out.
We'll certainly take a Republican. If you have someone who's been caught sleeping with another dude
Totally.
taking $1 million, send it to us. We'll put it on. Go ahead.
The biggest shame. Like, hello, a Bentley? What about the Volt? It's so amazing.
Yeah, didn't buy a
Rich
GM.
subsidy.
Come on. What kind of Democrat is he?
From
Shameful.
So wait a minute,
Shameful.
guys, you'd be happy. You'd be happy if it was like I don't know, a Prius.
But is it?
Yeah, Prius.
Yeah, I would be.
Prius actually has got the
You
best
asked about
report in
you asked about
Consumer
whether he's a
Report.
Democrat. He's one of the three
I want one of the ones
people
made in America.
when the balance of power shifted in the Senate and it was always held by the Republicans. It went to the Senate for a couple of days. He switched parties to be a Republican. They switched the power base, and then he thumbed his nose at the Republicans, and he went back to being a Democrat, and they lost the majority.
This is the problem with the political class in this country. They play the game to get what they want. They all make backroom deals, and I like to see these guys go down. The problem is they never put them away long enough.
Right, there needs to
And
be an
that's what we
example
need to
set.
do. We need to put them
The last
away.
guy died in jail.
What can they do? What can
Well,
they do?
they need to put him in jail, baby.
okay,
jail,
he'll go to jail,
behind
but-
bars, jail.
but for how long?
And severe fines. Well, for as long as it takes, depending on the crime committed. But you can't just give him these probationary sentences or just let him get away with
They
things.
haven't.
Sharp
They-
James.
they've
There's
been
no
going to jail.
David Kidd.
Here's Sharp James in Newark. Here's a guy who,
Yeah.
after 17 years as mayor, has a $300,000+ pension, a Rolls Royce. He didn't get the Bentley,
Right.
a 56-foot yacht. He goes to jail for 3 years, comes out, gets a rock star welcome. If you don't punish these
Living
guys,
like Diddy.
we will never get better.
Why do we have to go to jail? Why can't we make these people work in the community?
'Cause they're criminals, Ellen.
Live in a halfway house.
They're
What is
criminals.
that?
Leslie, you wanted to chime in here. I heard you.
Jeez.
Go ahead, Les.
Yes, Eric, we can't put them in prisons. Guys, you know that. We need to cut spending, all right? And we need to cut the money that we're
Leslie,
spending
Leslie.
on the incarceration of these politicians.
You know what? I'm
Guys
going to
are
bring
going
the
to
bat to
Halfway
Albany,
houses
baby.
and working in our community.
We're going to leave it right there, but I want to remind you one more time. We moved to 10 p.m. I'll probably remind you
Eastern.
again. And we don't want you to miss. Back to Follow the Money. Today's Facebook question of the day was, simply put, where should President Obama put the first drill? Keith says, into Union Head Richard Trumka. He's full of manure. Let's burn that for energy.
Wow.
Scott says the president should stick the first drill in his forehead to ensure that he has a brain. Insert music track, If I Only Had a Brain. Bill says, where I think he should stick it, he should only get methane. He would only get methane gas. Linda says
disgusting.
drill should go everywhere you can drill. And Emmanuel asks, didn't we acquire the state of Alaska with the purpose of drilling for oil? Now, what's funny here is a lot of your responses, while not quite suitable for air, were almost exactly the same. Sounds like someone's going to get a very clear message come November 2012. Let me give you that full screen again before we say goodnight to everyone. I want to show everyone. Starting Monday, we're on a new time. There it is, 10 p.m. So everyone needs to
He loves the screen.
DVR. Set your DVRs now, and don't forget,
God.
this is spring forward for the weekend. So DVR us 10 o'clock going forward. Before we say goodnight, what do you think of this drill, baby, drill? It's time to drill.
If we don't start now, in 5 years, which is when it'll really take effect, we're going to be in even more trouble.
Right.
OPEC is a cartel and a monopoly.
Yeah, don't look back and say coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act now, show leadership, show courage, and
Ellen,
common
sorry
sense.
about the drill, baby, drill into
He
your...
wins in 2012. Won't forget
Already?
a message.
It's too big to fail. We got to do it. I don't think we have a choice. And I like the viewer who said, didn't we get Alaska to drill for oil?
Leslie, drill? Should we
Wasn't that
drill
the
here,
point?
drill now? Is she still here?
Yes, I'm still here, and I think they learned nothing about the negative rhetoric after Tucson, guys, with
Gotta
that drill
go.
into his head, and he will be
Gotta go.
reelected.
Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Night.
10 o'clock.
Next week.